Hey everyone, what's up? It's me, lo-fi musician and producer, Blue Sirens. Today, I want to talk about my latest song, Falling Leaves. And I kind of think it's a flop. If you haven't heard the song, there's a link in the description below for you to check it out on Spotify. And if you have heard it, I'd like to hear your thoughts. So, let's dive in and see what I think about this song. Now, I wrote this song in August, September-ish, I believe, and I really liked it when I was writing it. I actually had to rewrite it because it was a little bit too fast, and I rewrote it and slowed it down a bit. So the song is inspired by a lot of the music that Softboy makes. If you haven't heard of Softboy, I'll also put a link in the description below for you to check him out. He makes some really cool, or they make some really cool melodies that float around the chords, and like the bass and the drums are really well mixed together. So the songs sound kind of simple, but they're blended so well and the levels are so good that it all comes together really well. And I listened to one of his EPs quite a bit when I was writing the song, and really honestly just felt inspired from his music to try and do something similar. How do I have a chord progression that's relatively simple but has some sort of variation, and have a couple of different melodies that are similar but repeat a little bit, but also are different enough for different sections of the song? And that's how I came up with Falling Leaves. Now, originally, I thought the song sounded more like a springtime song, but as I'm writing it and I'm like, okay, I want to release it, it was fall time, so I went with the Falling Leaves style. And I thought the melodies actually went pretty well with it because they kind of like stutter a little bit here and there. And while that might not sound like the melodies are flowing that much, it felt a lot like when the leaves are blowing in the wind and then they finally fall down, and then the melodies seem to kind of fit that vision, that motif per se. So why do I think that this song kind of has flopped? Well, typically, and this is not a good measure of success at all, but typically when I send songs to curators on SubmitHub, I normally send it to about maybe 36 or 40, and only about half, maybe a little bit more than half, said, hey, we like the song and we're going to share it. And a lot of the feedback I got from it was really generic of like, oh, this is too simple, or it doesn't match the style of my playlist. So I don't really pay attention to those. But I did just listen to the song before recording this video, and I kind of agreed that it is a little bit too simple at times. At times, I don't have anything but the piano playing the chords and the melodies, and I definitely could have put the bass in there. I could have added a couple of percussion elements, maybe here and there, very, very simple, but it does enhance the song quite a bit. And I don't have anything really for transitions. And that's fine because, that's what Softboy does. And again, he was the inspiration for this song. But on top of that, if my mix isn't as good as Softboy's, or on that level, or in a similar style, then it's just not going to hit the same. So I may have been inspired and replicated in my own way the chords and melodies, but if I fell short on the bass and the kick and how those all blend together, then it's gonna maybe come off sounding a little too simple, a little too skeleton-like, which is fine. Maybe there's some people out there, and there definitely are because it got accepted to some playlists, that really resonate with the song. So, there's the possibility the song, it found its audience with those people, and the other people through SubmitHub, it just wasn't their cup of tea. But it could have been. And I think what really could have made it their cup of tea, not only by adding some percussion elements, maybe some transitions, but there's a section in the song where it definitely just feels a little bit dead. It's just like, there's not much going on. Something else needs to come in. And if I would have added bass or shortened that, then it probably would have come off sounding a lot better. Because the song is pushing 3 minutes. And if you listen to lo-fi, if you make lo-fi, you may know that kind of between 2:15 and 2:45 is like the sweet spot for the length of lo-fi songs, which is kind of weird because that's like just enough time to maybe have an intro, have a really short verse, have some sort of transition or some sort of like uplifting movement that lets you do a different type of melody or something different, and then return to the verse and then some sort of outro. That's kind of what I would say is a typical structure of a lo-fi song. And when you focus a lot more on piano for those songs, you can get away with doing, a verse or an intro, a verse, a chorus, and then maybe a verse that leads quickly into some sort of bridge, and then end with the chorus. And when you do that, you can kind of push it to 2:30 to like 3 minutes. But like anything like above 250, I feel like people kind of like shy away from, unless it's just like, hey, we're trying to also mix a lot of ambient features into the song, or there's just it has to be a very specific type of lo-fi kind of song. It's maybe a lower energy kind of lo-fi song, because you're okay with being in that song a little bit longer. The energy is slower and it gets you there, and you don't really want to get pulled out. So with this song being a bit more upbeat, and there's a lot more piano notes flowing, it doesn't necessarily feel like 3 minutes is a good justification for the song. And this lands at 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So I definitely think I could have added some more bass in those less dynamic moments, and I think it could have enhanced the song. But overall, sometimes the feedback I do receive, and specifically for this, is that the melodies just don't land, which that's more of a personal taste, more of a personal perspective. I thought the melodies were pretty good, because it's what I focused the most on for this song, is getting those melodies to sound right, to transition smoothly, to work with the chords. So, if you have feedback and you're watching this video about those melodies, definitely drop that below, because when someone just says, oh, the melodies don't land for me, it's like, okay, well, why don't they land for you? And if you can't articulate why they don't, maybe suggest, hey, this is the melody I think that works really well. Check that melody out. I get it's sometimes tough to say why something does or doesn't work if you can't put your finger on it, or if you're not a musician yourself. But if you can say, this is an example of melody that I think works really well, that's great for any artist to be able to jump off into the next song, because they can say, what did I learn from this new melody that someone showed me? Why is it so different from the last one? What technique can I take away and put into my own music and try to make it sound a bit better? So check out the melodies if you're watching this video. Let me know in the comments below, do you like the melody? What could be different? What do you think is a good melody if you don't have thoughts on the melody itself that maybe I could learn from and write something better? If you do, much appreciated. Definitely appreciate you supporting me, my music, and the channel. But overall, some other stats I'd like to share about why I think the song is a flop. So typically when I hit the 2-week period of a song being released, which this still has about 3 more days until it hits the 2-week period, but typically around this time, I have about maybe 10,000 plays for the song so far after it's been released. And I'm like at 4,000 plays right now. So it just doesn't seem like people like the song, or it just doesn't resonate with them. I think like or not liking is strong, because lo-fi is kind of a faceless genre. Either you like it or you don't. It gets added to a playlist. No one's really like spouting off about how someone doesn't like a lo-fi song. It's just either their cup of tea or it's not their cup of tea. But it hasn't been everyone's cup of tea, because it hasn't been added to a lot of playlists. And if it's been on a playlist and people have heard it, they haven't added to their own library, their own playlist. So that's slowed the growth of those streams that I typically see for some of my other songs. And then also on top of that, on YouTube, I only have about 126 plays, I think, so far for the YouTube video for this song, which is still pretty good, and I'm glad of that. But the watch time is a little bit lower, and typically I honestly just have closer to 200, 250 when I hit the 2-week mark. So it just kind of doesn't feel like it's the best. And then I also did a fall lo-fi vibe video with some of my other songs that are in a similar style or sound like they could be part of like a fall mix. And that video, people kind of drop off within like the first minute, because I guess Falling Leaves is just not their thing. Falling Leaves is the first song, and I wanted to highlight Falling Leaves with that video, but I guess I maybe should have led with a different song and had Falling Leaves be second, just maybe get people more in the mix. But I don't know. I'll also have a link for that below if you want to check out that video too. But overall, it just doesn't seem like this song has been well received, and honestly, that's fine. It hurts at the beginning. Maybe it makes you think you're not capable of writing another good song, or you have imposter syndrome or something, but it hurts when a song that you really like and you put a lot of care and attention to, just other people don't like. And that's fine, because honestly, I should be making the music just for me, for what I like, trying to learn from what other people do, and not necessarily learn from what they like, but just other musicians and their style, so that I can try and improve on mine, or try things that they like or they do and try and make it my own in some sort of unique way or aspect. So I shouldn't be too hurt about it. It's tough, when it's tough not to take it personally when someone just doesn't like your stuff that you've worked really hard on and you're trying to share it with them. But again, I don't really know half the people that do these reviews on Submit Hub or on the internet. I appreciate all the positive ones, but I don't know anyone that is doing the negative ones per se. I don't know them personally, so I shouldn't take it personal. So if you are getting negative feedback, try not to take it personally. It's tough. Sometimes it seems like people just aren't listening to your music when they're telling you things. I get that. I've been there too. But try not to take it personally. Try and just put it all down to some sort of fact and then move on and improve. That being said, with improvement, I do have a new song coming out this Friday. It's called Walking with Waves. And if you want to pre-save it, I have a link below, and I hope you check it out, because it's also a song that I worked pretty hard on and tried a couple of new different things, mixing wise and composition wise. So I'm really interested to see what people hear about that song and what they like about that song. So don't forget to pre-save it below, as well as follow me on Spotify and Apple Music, so that way you can be notified when my new music does come out, which I try to release a new song once every 2 weeks. So listen to Falling Leaves. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to pre-save Walking with Waves. Peace.